Hey guys, it's Troy with Morelord Gaming. I've been making some demo videos of modules today, and even though this next module is not ready, it's still in development, I thought I would go ahead and make the first kind of early access video for you guys to take a look at, maybe get some feedback. That would be helpful, as I still am working out exactly how I want it to work in the end. But it's called Morelord Journeys, and the purpose of it is to handle long travel or expeditions in D&D games. It's it's something that I also feel is cumbersome, and there's maybe not a lot of um, well-known rules behind it, and so I'm experimenting with trying to do just that. So here's how it works. So the first thing is you plan a journey. So if you think about, you're showing a big map, maybe a world map, to your players, and they want to get from point A to point B, which you would name those here. But there's usually more than one way to get there. There's the safe way, which is by going by well-traveled roads or trails. There's maybe the quicker way, which might take them through dangerous, more dangerous terrain. Any number of um, paths. So you figure that out first. Once you have that figured out, then you'll define the journey. You'll have a navigator and an observer. You determine how long that journey is going to take, at least if everything goes well. Um, you define what is the majority of that territory between A and B and make the appropriate check here. So let's say this one's hostile, so there will be more encounter checks going on. Discovery, so this is it's kind of GM discretion. What does discovery mean? Maybe it's that they find a clue. Maybe it's that they find some treasure. Maybe it's they find a dungeon that turns into an entirely different side quest. So that's something that you can use or choose not to use. And then we've got resources. So again, based on the terrain, how much food and water can they expect to be able to forage as they travel? Um, and then how difficult is navigation? Uh, if there's a lot of trees, it's hard to navigate. If you've got mountains that have well-known landmarks, then that might be a little bit easier. If it's roads, it's going to be really easy. Or maybe it's just bad weather, blizzards and snow. It could be very difficult. And this is going to help determine whether or not they can get lost. So now we got our journey defined. So what happens from here is a day by day travel process. So we're ready to begin our very first travel day. So 0 of 4 travel days have happened. Here's the supplies we have on hand. So we've got 27 portions of food, 4 portions of water, 1 tent, 3 bedrolls. So you start the travel day. So you can see now it's an 8-step process per day. So the first process is we need to determine weather, because extreme weather is going to make things more difficult. In this case, they had fair weather. That's pretty clear. Second thing is pace. Are we going slow, normal, fast, or on this day, are we choosing maybe to go nowhere? Why would you do that? Well, because you've had some bad days and maybe you've got exhaustion. And so by not traveling for a day, you could possibly recover. But let's just say normal. And so we're I chose a more dangerous path, which means we have 3 rolls. What you roll is configurable. You can even choose whether or not the GM rolls or the users or the players roll. So for now, I just have it to where the GM rolls. And if there's a 1 rolled, then you have an encounter. So you can see here that we did roll a 1, which is considered a quote unquote complication. On a D8, if you roll an 8, there can be a boon. So maybe it's a good encounter. But then you can open up the Morelord Encounters module from here and deal with that. And then resolve and continue. Then you've got discovery. So again, this is how likely is it that your most perceptive traveler is going to see something unusual. What that is completely up to you. But in my case, I'll just say they'll fail it, which is not bad at all. In fact, sometimes it's good because it means they're not going to be delayed by going off on some other tangent. And then the next thing is the navigation roll. So they're either going to be successful or they might get completely lost or they're just turned around and actually went backwards, which is worse than just being lost for the moment. But we'll say that they succeeded. And then do they want to push on for a couple more hours? This is, risky. They have usually you have 8 hours of night, and you would camp for that 8 hours. This is saying they're only going to camp for 6 hours, which a lot of that could result in more exhaustion. It could result in more encounters, etc. So then we get to camp. So we can attempt to forage. And these rolls would normally go to the users. Every user typically is going to roll their survival check and looking for DCs, again, based on the terrain. So once we get the rolls, it would have automatically done the fail and succeed back to me. And it's letting you know that at least one of the players, they're going to have to eat food from their inventory. But it should say that water was good, etc., etc. Confirm and consume supplies. So now it actually takes those items out of inventory. Then, if you choose to, you can let them do a gather. So looking for material components for crafting, that's up to you. That would open up the Craftworks mod to do that. So this area definitely needs some work, but hopefully you get the gist of what it's attempting to do. Once we are done with that, then we get to the camp and we need to figure out watch orders. So 2-hour watches. I have a small party here, so they have to double up. You can also choose to take a watch option other than just being alert and watching. You can spend 2 hours to craft or 2 hours to cook, 2 hours to prepare. These will be explained in more detail later, but the benefit is you can get other things done. The negative could be that if an encounter happened, your party would be surprised because you weren't paying 100% of your attention to looking out for that. And you would roll again. And as before, ones are encounters. So we get the open encounters because that was an encounter. Eights in the case of the way I have it set up. Whatever the highest number is, that's considered a boon. And you might, oh, sorry. Again, you're configuring what these dice are. So obviously, the fewer sided dice you're using, the higher chance there is for encounters. And so it's really based on what your campaign is like and how dangerous it is. So anyway, it will resolve those things. Then, even if they get full night of sleep, they are going to need to roll to see how good of sleep they had. If they got a tent, then they get a bigger bonus on their check. A bedroll is a small bonus. A blanket is no bonus. If they've got none of these, oof, they're probably not going to sleep very well. But that would then go to the players to roll. Those are some really crappy rolls. And we can see here that this person succeeded. Their exhaustion would be reduced. Oh, they all succeeded. Good for them. But if they would have failed their check, they would have gained a level of exhaustion. So we resolve that, and we can see the log of everything that happened. We complete the travel day, and now you do whatever it is you want to do before they begin traveling again. And you keep doing that process until they finish that travel. Depending on what happens, like if they get lost, then it might say zero. Well, it would say 1 of 5 travel days, and the original travel was 4 days. So basically, you added a day of travel. Or if you go reverse, might be worse. We'd be sitting on 0 of 6 travel days, even though it was only 4 days of travel to begin with. So anyway, kind of fun. It creates the mechanics for you for travel. So we'll see how that comes out. And like I said, look forward to any feedback you might have. Thanks a lot.